Ethan Ward never expected a stranger's smile to become the first step toward his darkest mistake. The sun had barely begun its climb above the distant ridge when Ethan Ward stepped off the rattling bus and into the dusty border town of Grey Rock. He had come seeking work, or perhaps something more than work purpose, direction, the hope of belonging somewhere after months of drifting. At 22, Ethan possessed that fragile combination of restlessness and optimism that made him quick to trust new beginnings and slow to question those who promised them. Grey Rock was not the kind of town that welcomed strangers, but it tolerated them. It offered wide roads, tired buildings, and a landscape carved by wind and disappointment. Travelers passed through, miners drank away lost wages, merchants haggled with suspicion, and in the corners of busy cafes, shadows sometimes watched more closely than anyone realized. Ethan didn't notice those shadows watching him now. He breathed in the morning dust and tightened the backpack strap across his shoulder. His entire life fit inside that bag: 3 shirts, a jacket, a small notebook, and a photograph of his younger sister Lila. She was his only family left after the accident last year. He had promised to build a better life for both of them, but job after job had slipped away like sand through his fingers. He walked down the main road, past a faded sign that read "Welcome to Grey Rock, place to start again." The paint had peeled from the word welcome, as if the town itself had long given up on the idea. A voice drifted from behind him. "First time here?" Ethan turned. A man in his mid-30s stood with a relaxed smile, hands in the pockets of a well-worn coat. His hair was neatly trimmed, his posture confident yet casual. Nothing about him seemed threatening. "Yeah," Ethan replied, shifting his weight. "Just arrived." "Looking for work, I guess." "Well, you're in luck," the man said. Grey Rock may look like a ghost town, but opportunities hide in unexpected corners. Ethan offered a cautious smile. "You live here?" "For now," the man said. "Name's Cole Anders." "Ethan." Cole nodded, as though confirming something only he understood. "If you're looking for a place to stay, there's a small lodge near the East End. Not fancy, but clean enough. Mind if I walk with you?" "I'm headed that way." Ethan hesitated only a moment before nodding. Cole seemed friendly, confident, and most importantly, familiar with the town. As they walked, Cole peppered him with friendly questions: where he was from, what skills he had, what kind of work he wanted. Ethan answered honestly, grateful for someone to speak to. But beneath Cole's pleasant tone was a quiet calculation, hidden too deeply for Ethan to sense. The lodge was a squat stone building with a rusted sign swinging in the dry wind. Inside, the front desk clerk barely looked up as Cole helped Ethan arrange a room. "You look like you've had a long journey," Cole said once they stepped into the hallway. "When you're rested, I can introduce you to some friends of mine, people who help newcomers find steady work." "That would be great," Ethan said, relieved. Cole smiled. "Get some sleep. I'll stop by tomorrow." He left without another word, slipping away as quietly as he had appeared. Over the next few days, Cole visited the lodge, bringing food, asking about Ethan's background, and offering small gifts: gloves, a notebook, bottled water. Acts of kindness that felt genuine. Acts that made Ethan feel seen. Then came the offer. "My group," Cole said one evening as they walked near the outskirts of town, "is part of a humanitarian project out in the hills. We build shelters, bring supplies to remote villages. It's difficult work, but meaningful. You strike me as someone who wants his life to matter." Ethan blinked. Yeah, I do. We could use someone like you," Cole said warmly. "You'd learn useful skills, be part of something important." Ethan felt hope bloom in his chest. "I'd like that." Cole smiled, eyes glinting. "Good. Then tomorrow we'll head out." Morning arrived with a cold wind. Cole introduced Ethan to 2 others: Marcus Hall, a burly man with an unreadable expression, and Ryland Carter, thin and quiet. Both greeted Ethan politely enough. though neither carried Cole's friendliness. They loaded into a dusty SUV, heading toward a series of low hills beyond the town. Ethan sat beside Cole, listening as he spoke about unity, purpose, the importance of standing for something bigger than oneself. "You know," Cole said, "the world is filled with corruption. People suffer while the powerful grow stronger. We're trying to change that. We're trying to protect what matters." Ethan nodded politely. "I respect that. You're young," Cole said. "You still believe the world can change. Most people lose that somewhere along the way." Ethan looked out the window, thinking of Lila. "I have to believe it." Cole's smile widened, though Ethan missed the hungry edge beneath it. The compound came into view around mid-afternoon. It wasn't the humanitarian sight Ethan imagined. Barbed wire lined the fences, and guard posts overlooked the grounds. Tents and metal buildings formed a small camp, but none of it resembled a relief center. Ethan's chest tightened. "This is, I thought?" Cole rested a firm hand on his shoulder. "Don't be alarmed. The world is dangerous. We protect our people." Marcus and Rylan unloaded gear from the back without speaking. Ethan's discomfort deepened. Inside the compound, men moved with rigid discipline. Some carried crates. Others spoke in hushed tones. A few watched Ethan with sharp interest. He swallowed hard, glancing at Cole. Cole's expression remained calm. "Come on, I'll show you around." Over the next several days, Ethan tried to understand the group he had walked into. Cole insisted they were freedom seekers, people fighting against oppression. But Ethan heard whispers of operations, targets, and coded communication. The men trained with weapons, studied maps, and spoke with fanatic intensity. This was no humanitarian group. These were terrorists. The truth struck Ethan slowly, painfully. He realized Cole had never been helping him. He had been grooming him, searching for loneliness, vulnerability, longing for purpose. Ethan had walked right into their hands. He tried to leave. On the fifth night, Ethan approached Cole near the fire pit. "Cole, I need to head back to Grey Rock," he said quietly. "This isn't what I thought it would be." Cole didn't look surprised. Instead, he sighed as though Ethan had disappointed him deeply. "Ethan," he said gently, "you're scared. That's normal. New paths feel uncomfortable at first, but you're meant for this. I've seen the fire in you." "No," Ethan insisted. "I don't want to be part of this. I can't stay here." Cole's eyes hardened. "You don't understand. This isn't a place you simply walk away from." A chill crawled down Ethan's spine. "What does that mean?" Cole softened his voice again, but the softness was now suffocating. "We saved you from wasted potential, from meaningless drift. You belong with us, and belonging requires loyalty." Ethan stepped back. "I never agreed to that." Cole shook his head slowly. "You will." From then on, Ethan was watched everywhere he went. Men followed him around the camp, ensuring he couldn't run. He realized he was no longer a guest, but a prisoner. Cole continued speaking to him each day about injustice, about sacrifice, about duty. He framed their ideology as noble, necessary, righteous. He praised Ethan's intelligence, his compassion, his potential. He made Ethan feel valued, yet trapped, his words both comforting and poisonous. This was how they manipulated people, Ethan realized. They wrapped lies in the language of purpose. They preyed on the lonely, the uncertain, the lost. And they were turning their eyes on him. 2 weeks in, the group prepared for what they called a purification mission. Ethan didn't know what it meant, but he saw weapons being readied, routes being planned, and names being whispered. Rylan approached him the night before the mission. His expression held something like pity. "They think you're ready," Rylan murmured. "Cole says you'll prove your commitment tomorrow." Ethan froze. "I'm not going anywhere with them," Rylan swallowed. "That's not how this works? What happens if I refuse?" Ethan asked, voice cracking. Rylan didn't answer. He didn't have to. Morning arrived with a bitter chill. Marcus shoved a pack into Ethan's arms and pushed him toward a transport truck. Ethan stumbled, fear pulsing through him. Cole approached, expression calm and warm as ever. "You're one of us now," Cole whispered. "Today you prove it." "I don't want this," Ethan muttered desperately. Cole leaned in close. "You do. You just don't see it yet?" Ethan's stomach twisted. "If I don't go?" Cole's smile thinned. "Then those who disappoint us face consequences far worse than fear." Ethan's breath caught. He thought of Lila alone, waiting for him. If he died here, she would have no one. He needed to escape. The mission group marched through a ravine toward an abandoned outpost. According to Cole, enemies had used it for surveillance. But Ethan knew the truth. They planned to attack, destroy, and claim it as a victory. As they approached the outpost, Cole placed a rifle in Ethan's hands. "Your moment," he whispered. "Your loyalty." Ethan stared at the weapon, panic rising. He had never fired one. He didn't want to. "Cole, please." "Choose," Cole murmured. "Stand with us, ... or fall beneath us." The men around them tightened their grips, watching Ethan closely. Ethan felt his heart drum against his ribs. He realized nothing would save him but action now. Right now. He could not allow himself to become what they wanted. He turned, sprinting toward the far edge of the ravine. Shouts erupted. "Stop him! Ethan!" Boots pounded behind him. Bullets cracked overhead, sending rock shards flying. Ethan ran harder, lungs burning, legs screaming. A hand seized his jacket, but he twisted free, stumbling down a slope. He rolled, dust choking him, before scrambling up and darting behind a cluster of boulders. He kept running, running for life, running for Lila, running for himself. Hours passed. Ethan didn't know how far he had gone. He only knew he could not stop. The sun dipped lower. The sky burned orange. But as he reached the base of another ridge, he heard footsteps quiet, controlled. Cole stepped from behind a rock, gun in hand. "Ethan," he said softly, "you didn't have to make this difficult." Ethan backed away. "Please, ... Just let me go." Cole's expression held no anger, only disappointment, which somehow felt worse. "You had potential. You could have been extraordinary." "I'm not like you," Ethan whispered. "No," Cole agreed, lifting the gun. "You lack commitment." Ethan's chest tightened. He thought of Lila's smile, the promise he had made, the life he still wanted to build. Cole gamed. But before he could fire, Ethan lunged desperately toward him. Hunger for survival surged through him. He grabbed Cole's arm, forcing it upward as the gunshot cracked into the sky. Cole struggled, but Ethan fought with everything he had, fueled by terror and stubborn hope. They tumbled down the rocky slope. The gun skittered away. Cole struck Ethan across the face, sending stars flashing behind his eyes. "You can't escape what you are," Cole shouted. Ethan tasted blood. "I know exactly what I'm not," he gasped. He shoved Cole back with the last of his strength. Cole lost his footing on the edge of a steep drop. His eyes widened, fear at last breaking his mask as he fell backwards into the ravine. Silence followed. Ethan lay trembling, every muscle screaming, heart bursting with relief and grief all at once. He hadn't wanted death for anyone, but he also hadn't wanted to die. He lay there until the stars appeared above him. Then he stood weak, exhausted, but alive. 2 days later, after making his way through the barren hills, Ethan reached a military checkpoint near the regional highway. His clothes were torn, his face bruised, and his voice cracked as he told the officers everything. They contacted intelligence teams. Raids were launched. The compound was dismantled. Many were arrested. When investigators asked how the group had recruited him, Ethan told them the truth. "They look for loneliness," he said quietly. "They look for people who feel invisible. They use kindness as bait, purpose as chains." The officer nodded solemnly. "You survived something most never do." Ethan swallowed. "I just want to go home." And he did. When Ethan returned to Lila, she burst into tears, hugging him tightly. He promised her he would never disappear again, that he had found his purpose not in violence or false belonging, but in protecting those who could be preyed upon the way he was. He told her softly, "I'm not going to let anyone take advantage of lost people again." And he kept that promise.